play gone, and Penrith bustling this Canterbury combination in this opening stanza of play. Canterbury to win this, but a penalty going against them. Canterbury players not facing up and down, foot across the ruck. So no scrum count there, penalty ensuing from that. So penalty instead rather than the scrum result. So a penalty Penrith from that scrum, and Levy will kick the touch on the far side of the ground. Good scattering of people on the hill. I suppose we're looking at 4,000 or 5,000 considering the grandstand side is mostly full. So Simmons comes up to take the tap, 5 metres into Canterbury territory, reverses it across behind him to Bergman. Bergman put to ground 10 metres into Canterbury territory, a few metres in from the far touch line. Simmons infield to Connor. Connor takes on the forwards wide. Robinson and folks there to meet him. Simmons reversing it again to Vitanza, does the same thing and gets within 10 metres of Canterbury's quarter line, right in centre field. No score on the board. Simmons, cross it comes now to Davis, to Alexander. Alexander trying to run around the defence, or tried to get a pass around the corner, but it's put to ground. The idea was right. He had both Wolf and Gonzalez in a rather crowded side of the playing field, but at least the pass would have given them some room to move. But knocked to ground, and the scrum will go down. Again, Mortimer to feed. 10 metres into Canterbury's territory. Scrum screws, collapses over the top of the ball. Mortimer pulls it out and fires at the Lamb. 2 steps from Lamb, standing position to Farah. Farah pushed out wide by Wolf, gives the ball back inside to Mortimer, and around wide it goes to Potter. Potter looking for runners. He's got it out wide there with Pobji, but Pobji hurled down right beside the touchline. Good attacking football from Canterbury. Up and plays the ball to Lamb, back in field. Mortimer looking for runners with it. Lees letting one go to Folks right across the width of the paddock, and it's not going anywhere but backwards. And Gonzalez tears through on his opposing winger Anderson, and bodily throws him to ground. Now Tunks up the blind side, pushes away from 2 tackles, gives the ball out to Folks, who's grounded with it over halfway in Penrith territory. Robinson calls for it and bursts onto it. Saw the gap there too, but Bergman flew in with Vitanza, who's hurting the tackle, but it's played and given it from the Gould, from Johnson to Mortimer. Fires one out to Farah. Farah only needs to crack the defence and he's away. Pull the ground, lets one go back behind him. Lee's there to collect it. To Potter out wide. Potter's got Pobji in support. Fenton pushing him to the touchline. Pobji given the pass and comes back in field. Well, Canterbury starting to look good with that ball as they get up to play it. Short of the quarter line, Penrith into the ground, no score on the board. Johnson uncertain of what to do with it, hangs onto it long enough for his legs to be taken from under him by Davis. Will play the ball back to Gould, given back to Mortimer in the air. The bomb is going towards the touchline, and it's going to result in a try to Canterbury. Ball hits the deck, and it's collected there by Lamb going at 100 miles an hour. And Lamb collects that kick from Mortimer. So kick to be taken by Lamb from right on touch and 22 metres out. Oh, it looks good from Lamb. He's raised the flags. A perfect conversion. So Canterbury take the lead after 25 minutes of play by 6 points to 0. 18 metres out as the tap is to be taken by Gonzalez. Across it goes to Connor. Gonzalez goes around him and strongly runs into Robinson's tackle with Gould there too. Gonzalez will get up and play it. Penrith mounting good attack. 5 to go for them as Simmons calls for the ball and Johnson wrestles him to the ground. Right under the post and 12 metres out. Connor in there asking for it to be played quickly. Alexander flips it back underneath the Vitanza. Good stuff. Vitanza finds the hole to Simmons. Simmons puts a head down and tries to duck under Tunks' tackle, but held up and pushed to ground by Robinson, aiding Tunks. Now given across to Levy, reverses it wide to Davies. A long one to Gig. Gig can't handle it. Butterfingers at the ground, and Gould says, I've got it. And Gould's got plenty of room to move in. Takes off into the wide open spaces, but is pulled down from behind by Vitanza. Played by Canterbury, and the ball carried forward about 10 metres. Penrith defences getting reorganised again. Mortimer across wide to his brother. Playing out to Anderson. Anderson's got room to move. Gonzalez is not at home. Alexander chases him and picks him up from centre field. Good sweeper's tackle from Alexander, and he's put down on the touchline. Mortimer calls for a broken play. A great opportunity for him. And Fenton coming back onside, receives the pass from Mortimer, collects it and is offside, of course.
I think he shouted for it.
He's coming back offside. He's coming back from an offside position. He should have been onside from the start of play, I think, David.
Yeah, but he'd run the distance.
Do you think he'd gone that necessary distance?
I think Mortimer
Oh, I think so. I thought he'd only just got underway, but probably so. So that the penalty, and Penrith, Canterbury have elected to kick for touch and not kick for the goal. That surprises me. Anderson to take the tap 30 metres out. They must think things are pretty hot. Lamb receives it, gives it to Farah. Farah not running with anywhere near the same verve as we saw at the start of the game. Johnson giving it wide to Tunks, back to Gould. Gould hits the line as he straightens up the attack, but is pulled out about 10 metres out. Johnson behind him, looking for Tunks again. Tunks comes back in field, held it up and was going to fire it, and it would have been plucked out of his hands there by Alexander. Robinson says, give it to me. Robertson storms onto the defence line. Fenton hits him around the ankles, pulls him up, and Mortimer finishes him off. Now to Lamb. Lamb steps, throws one back to Tunks. Good stuff from Canterbury. And Tunks picks up the ball and drops it into the arms of Lees, who flies over the touchdown to the Bulldogs. And there's no denying that fine football from them. Established from the free kick or the penalty a long way back in play, and so Canterbury now storm to the lead to lead Penrith by 10 points to 0. Kick yet to come. And the kick from Lamb hits the left upright and bounces back into the field of play, and that's the score at the moment, 10-0 in favour of the Bulldogs. Ball to be fed in by Mortimer. Scrum going down from that touchline kick from Penrith. Lamb given the pass from Mortimer and lets it go quickly to Potter, flying up into the attack. He too has put down Anderson in centre field to Farah. Farah trying to find a way past Fenton. Fenton straight underneath him, upending Johnson. To Mortimer and again to Tunks, the runner beside him. Tunks immediately put down by Zavanovic, 10 metres into Penrith territory. Back to Gould. Gould shows the ball to his supporting players and is finally wrestled to the ground. Howell in there holding him by one arm, but Davis, the basic instrument in the tackle. Gould shows the ball, breaks through a tackle, lets it go to Batiste for the corner diagonally. Batiste has got some pace. Levy Stubby, no, and Batiste from about 20 metres out diagonally from that piece of Phil Gould brilliance, just with sheer power and strength, went on to score from 20 metres out in the corner. And after 10 minutes of play in the second half, Canterbury increased their lead now by 14 points to 2. Kick yet to come. And so Lamb now attempting to convert this third Bulldogs try, almost from the touchline, this time in front of the grandstand, kicking of course to the railway or canal end of Belmore Sports Ground. And, Lamb so far missing 3 out of 4 kicks, so he'll be hoping this one goes in the right direction, but it hasn't. We have a direct line with the post. It's swung wide, waved away there by both touch judges before it even got halfway across the paddock to the post. So Canterbury now 14 points to 2 in front. And we'll pick him up for you in a moment. Les White is on, I think. Ball has come out there to Davis, and he's given it to Alexander, but O'Donnell has said, let's put it in again. And it goes the second time. Well won by Simmons this time. This time Alexander has it fair and square, throws the dummy through the gap, he's away. Alexander, this is going to be a blinding individual try. Alexander from 30 metres out through the easiest of dummies and diagonally sped to the grandstand corner over 30 metres. Alexander in for his first grade try. A great one too, and Penrith now 6 points on the board. Kick yet to come. Canterbury leading 14 points to 6. So Les White has come on to replace Joe Vitanza in the Penrith front row. Greg Alexander has just scored an absolute try from 30 metres out, and Levy about to attempt to convert that, with Canterbury leading by 14 points to 6. 14 points to 8 gives Penrith a chance of pulling it out of the fire if Levy can convert, and he's done it. It's an absolutely immaculate kick, never veered offline. So Levy's conversion successful of Alexander's try. 14 points to 8 there. Cliffhanging football coming up if Penrith can keep the pressure on Canterbury. Won by Canterbury, and Mortimer there to a replacement player for Lamb at 5'8", getting up to play it back to Potter. Potter feeds it across the centres where the ball has been carried almost to 10 metres outside of Canterbury's quarter line. Player is put to ground. Ball played there to Johnson. Across it comes to Batiste. Batiste pulled to ground by Wolf. He'll get up and play it. Johnson fires it back inside to onto Tunks. Tunks hits the line, stays on his feet, but he's swamped this time and can't get that ball away. It's not Gary Hughes we've got in for 5. Now given a long torpedo kick, maybe too big, it's full. The scrum will come back to Canterbury side of by about 15 metres. Another change taking place in the Penrith side. Fenton has been taken out of the game. Gary Howard. Ball to be fed in now by Dave. By Canterbury against time, and Mortimer Gunfield slips away from the attempted tackle from the lock forward. He's in the clear. Picked up there by Fenton. Gets the ball away. Canterbury towards the try. Up with it wide as gives it on there to Pobji. The attempted tackle of his opposing slips it, or as Gig tried to get to him. So Canterbury have probably seen the game with only 7 minutes to go. Pobji going over to score. Canterbury leading now by points to 8. Kick with over the kicking. Canterbury in control, pouring the pressure on as time ticks away. There'd be no more than in fact siren should sound any chance for kids around to win. There goes siren all over it. Belmore running out, deserved winners over Penrith by 20 points to 8 in a very, very good